everyone, it's Sami from Sami's Sweet Life, and here is part 3. Now this one is a little bit shorter because my part 4 is going to be the longest section so far. It'll cover goal setting and main planners. This is covering one that's kind of a strange one. I'm making a planner, and I'll get into the details. It does sound silly, but it makes sense in my head to keep track of all of the planners for review purposes and things. So I'll explain that in this video, and also I have more like family and monthly calendar type of info in this video as well. So it's very practical use and also the most impractical use option in this video. It's kind of short, kind of sweet. I hope you guys like it. Let's go ahead and hop in. And then last but not least, as far as like small planners that I have outlined, I'm going to put a disclaimer. There may be more. I will possibly change some of these around, but I've written in this one as well. I wrote into this one last night, and it's outlining some of the things I've discussed here. And this is probably like my most out there weird option. It is my like meta planner. So it's like very, very meta. I'm writing in how I'm doing with various planners. So this is just a notebook about planners, which sounds crazy. It is crazy, but as a planner addict, I jump around in planners, especially if I'm like jumping in various different A5s. Like this month, I'm going to use this A5. And the next month, oh, I'm going to use the Just Scribble. Things like that, where I'm jumping planner to planner from month to month or weeks to weeks. However I break it down, I need a place to keep track. Like when I'm going back at the end of the year, I'm like, what planners was I in? Because this planner only has 3 months filled out, the whole entire thing. You know, there's gaps. What planner was I in February? Well, I can go back and look into my planner and see all that information. So I'm calling it my meta planner. Basically document what planners I am using and how things are working out. I can analyze each planner system, productivity, and experiments, challenges that I give myself. Like one month I'm going to play around with XYZ planner. The next month I might play around with XYZ planner. I might change up how I'm using each planner. That's all going to go in here. So that's color code for planning days. So basically, like if I'm touching planners, I'm going to color in basically like a yes or no. Yesterday I was using my planners. This day I wasn't. And I feel like on weekends I don't do a ton, at least like one weekend day. I don't touch a planner at all a lot of times. So it's not like I'm in all of these planners every single day. And this is going to give me a more widespread, broader look at how much I'm actually in my planners that I'm so obsessed with. And then here, list overarching goals or ideas or challenges for the quarter. Like one of my ideas is to use the bullet journaling system for my to-do listing. Like I see people doing it in all their different planners. They'll have like the little symbols and things. One of my goals is to start trying to use that system and see how it goes for me. I've never really used that specific system, and I see people using it and loving it, and like they'll have their daily page. Like this isn't daily page. Where's the daily pages? It's way in the back. Like they'll use, like this is my daily system. This is my journaling side. You know, I've seen people use it a ton and it looks great and I want to try it out. So that's going to be like where the ideas or challenges or productivity hacks, I'll try them out and I'll list them in the little quarterly section. And then here I want 2 columns. What planners I start the month with, and then this is any changes. So I'm like, okay, this month I started with the Rosy Life planner. It went south. I changed to this planner. Things like that. And then list any experimental planners across the top. Like, okay, this month I'm going to use my Rosy Life. I'm going to use my A5 Sterling ink. Horizontal, I'm going to use the Hobonichi Hone. And then dot pen, which ones I actually use. So not every one, like my content planner is not going to be one of the dots. My gaming planner, not going to be one of the dots. But any of the ones where I'm like, okay, I'm trying out this as my like everyday to-do listing time blocking system. I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to keep track of what days I use it. And this is not a goal. It's not a goal to use the planner every single day, but a data set. So I'm just seeing like, okay, I reached for this planner way more than I reached for a different planner a different month. So it's just data. Like I said, not a goal, just a data set. And I made sure that was nice and big. That's the thing. I'm like, oh, I need to do these things. If I mark 5 or 6 things, oh, I need to do all of these things every day. And I find these kind of things very intimidating. I'll start really good, but then like one of us gets sick or I just don't use it for whatever reason. It's a busy time and I skip 3 days and then I was like, oh, what's the point of continuing on? I give up and then I never go back to these. So I'm really trying to embrace this. Some days I'm just not going to fill out. I might have like a gray highlighter where I just color in any of the times that are like blank times when I didn't touch planners at all for that week because I was feeling like garbage or we were traveling or whatever. and I'll just like gray that out to know that it's separate from the other data and other planning goodness. So I thought I would try harder to come back to them even when I skip days, because I inevitably will skip days. First of all, I'm a migraine sufferer. Second of all, my daughter's in competitive dance, so we take weekends and go to dance competitions. I'm not bringing 42 planners with me, right? It's not gonna happen. So anyway, keep going on. I'm gonna keep track of any planner changes, goal setting, reflections, and plan with me days. So like if I do my goal setting on a Sunday, I'm gonna write it out. If I don't do my goal setting till Wednesday, I'm gonna write that out and keep track of any planner changes. So I'm like, okay, at the beginning of the month, I know what I was in because I wrote it here. And then I go back, this is January. So I have like the planners I'm in. I decided this isn't working for me. I switch planners on the 12th or whatever days I switch planners. I wanna keep track of all of it here. So like a month later, I can do some sort of recap and be like, well, I was in this planner half the month and then I switched to XYZ planner. It's very meta, like I said, like I'm planning out my planners in a planner. So very meta. And then on the daily pages, log of any planner thoughts and planner loves, challenges, negatives, basically whatever is working or not working that I feel. And it will be a thing where I'm not gonna fill these out every single day. I'm not gonna have actual thoughts about my planners in all of these things, but I do wanna have some sort of like weekly summary or reflection on this side of, hey, these planners worked great for me this week, or oh, I'm getting bored with this planner, or this planner is not working, I'm feeling friction with XYZ part of it. Like a lot of systems, like I'm finding this one was great for my content, but then when I'm trying to like plan out reels and stuff, I find this not to be a great system. I could do all of that in the back pages, but it's not structured at all whatsoever. And so I needed a change for this. Well, I could document those kind of things in here when I'm feeling those friction points and feeling like certain things aren't working, and it can give me ideas for next year. It can give me data for next year. And same with these back daily pages here. Monthly faves and flops. I have an index page here. I could also do miscellaneous pages, lots of different planner related things. Like I want to try the bullet journal system. I'm going to have a spread in the back here writing out the bullet journal symbols and how I'm going to use them and that kind of thing in the back. So these are a lot of miscellaneous pages, and this is where I actually wrote in the planner, which we'll talk about in a second, but I wrote lots of things here. Idea gardens, productivity tips I want to try to implement, experimental planners list, planner wish list for 2026, planners to redate for 2026. So reuse some of the planners. That's going to be a big focus for me next year, is try to reuse some of the planners because I'm not using all of them. Also review each planner that I do use. Also miscellaneous planner topics. If I have idea topics or things I want to discuss, it's going to be hashed out in these back sections, and some of them are going to become video topics. Also, planner launch 2026. I'm already thinking about redating some of what I already have and spending way less the next time. I'm going to try to simplify it a little bit more, because having 6 A5s show up is a lot of A5s, even though, you know, I'm gifted some. I purchased some outright. I purchased some knowing it's a new to me one. It's exciting. It's fun personally for me, but also because certain ones are going to get views. Like, not going to lie, certain planners, they're going to get more views. And that's just the nature of it. Brand new planners, those planners are going to get views. So I know which companies I like to work with, which companies I personally like on a personal level, but I also know what's going to help feed this channel as well. So going into that, I'll have lots of thoughts moving into 2026 in here as well. So this is the page I wrote. I've got to go pick up my little girl here very soon, so I'll end up finishing this video up tomorrow. But here is my November lineup thus far, which we've talked about quite a few of these, not all of them, and I will mention a few other things. So reading media log, showed you guys that. Media log, my plant journal, also a little week's planner. Health wellness migraine log, my Hone sushi, it's an A5. Japanese practice, cherry blossom weeks. Got evening journal gratitude, it's my Hone cherry blossoms cover. It's really pretty. It's the same one, Hiroko Kubota, same designer. And then goal setting wins, it's my Moxie Life, which we haven't touched on in this video, but I will do it very soon. I'll talk how I'm going to use all those pages. Also content affiliate tracking collabs. We've got Laurel Denise, and I thought also the horizontal monthly I could potentially use, like I showed with the post-it note system. I also have a family calendar, which I haven't covered yet, which we'll talk to, and then gaming planner. And it might also include other hobbies. So I talked you through most of what I have down here. I still need to cover the family calendar, talk about what I'm going to use for to-do listing, time blocking, that sort of thing. That's where the experimental side of things is going to come in. So let's cut to tomorrow and I will film more and talk more about the rest of these. All right, I'm going to finish up this video. So that really covers most of my planners that are like one subject type of things. I want to touch on a few things off this list. A lot of the other planners for like my everyday to-do listing, time blocking, just keeping track of every type of thing. It's going to be a combination of iCal for timed things. I have been using iCal and it's a great way that my husband and I can keep track of all the family stuff. But I also like having that stuff written down as well. So I use a monthly spread for that, and generally speaking it's just out on my desk, but sometimes it's not exactly the most handy thing because, you know, I'm like in a different room and he's having a meeting and the monthly calendar's in the room where he's having the meeting. It's not exactly the most helpful thing sometimes, but I do love this big Bloom calendar, and these papers are really nice and thick. It's got a few like habit tracky type of things in the front, but I'm just mostly concerned about these. So it's nice and big, plenty of room. Like I have to zoom out to even get it up on the screen. This is a big, big beefer. So this is B5 and it just dwarfs the B5 because it's so big. So there's plenty of room to write in all the things. It isn't lined, which is kind of a downside, but I think I could manage. Just, you know, I've done unlined ones in the past before, so it's not that big a deal. But I do love this. I love the idea of just keeping this out on my desk or putting it on an easel. For this year, I've been using an A5 Erin Condren. Those little petite soft cover A5s, and it's worked nicely. It's just kind of small. You know, the older the kids get, the more things we've got going on. I try to be pretty social with my friends' groups too. So like adding in my mom's nights and all the kids' activities and meetings, appointments, doctor's things, like all the things, the squares. You know, they're like this big versus this whole real estate. It just gets full really quickly, and I haven't really been using it that much the last few months because I'm like, well, I can't fit all my things in, why even bother? And it's not even open on my desk at this point. So I found that I like having that out, but I haven't been using it because it's so small and it's been a big hindrance. I need something big like this. The other option would be if I'm using the B5, these B5 squares are nice and big too. And then it's right with me if I'm, you know, in this one. And those squares are nice and big, and these ones also have the grid lines, so I can do lots of different things in these boxes. So that's my other option as well. And whatever I don't use, you know, if I don't use this B6, I can always redate it. And I called it a B6, it's a B5. If I don't use this B5 this year, I can always redate it, or if I don't use this Bloom calendar, I can always redate it. And it might be a case that I leave this one on my counter, and whatever thing I'm in is like my everyday everything, I might put the same things in the calendar again, just to have them with me at all times and then out on the desk at all times. Because when I'm planning from like week to week, I'm making my schedule, I'm putting my to-do listing down, I'm deciding which days are errand days, I bounce off of that monthly. So I really don't want it only being right in front of my book and having to flip back and forth. I love having it out on the counter, nice and big and ready to see. So it won't be a case where it's like, it's only going to be in one spot. I've been using the EC hourly and I have my schedule showing on that. And that's usually sitting out, this one, the EC hourly. It's usually sitting out so I can see day to day what's going on. For meal planning and stuff, it's just super helpful. So even though I'm not using the monthly, I'm using the EC hourly in that same kind of capacity. It might be a case where I leave this one sitting out, or I use this one, and even when my day-to-day is like an A5, I'll have this monthly completely filled out with all the tasks and things. So I do want to incorporate a monthly back in. It's just to be determined which method I go with for that. And that wraps up today's video. I will be back with part 4 tomorrow. So my question bounces off of today's planner. What is the silliest thing or the most ridiculous thing that you have tracked in your planner or you have set up in your planner? This is definitely by far, I think, like the most frivolous and silly one, but I just found this last year especially where I really needed a centralized place for all of the planner thoughts and discussions and review info, and I like sprinkle those throughout different notebooks and planners and never know where anything is. And when I'm changing planners off a lot, sometimes I'll put a planner in my planner stack, find out I'm not using it very much, and then totally forget about the planner altogether. I have a few of those for my planner regrets video coming up, but it means I have to comb through lots of physical planners up on the shelf or comb through previous videos to even find out what I was using. And I had one pop into my head recently, like, oh wow, I haven't touched that planner since January. So it's definitely one I'll put in the planner regrets video, but I feel like keeping track in a separate planner just for planners is so silly and crazy, but I feel like it'll be very useful as a planner YouTuber. So let me know what your most frivolous or silly topic is that you keep track of. I would love to know down in the comments. And yeah, that's it for today. Like, subscribe, follow me along. I'll be back with part 4 tomorrow. Have a great day, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.